Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Beatrice Hyppolite and this is your world. My next question, how do you stay current with best practices and research in occupational therapy?
So that's a really good question. And because I'm the doctoral capstone coordinator, I'm involved in helping the students develop their research.
I know that you mentioned the word capstone before. Can you explain to my viewers what capstone means?
You're right. We did throw that term around before. So a capstone project is a culminating project that it can be for a master's degree. Mm-hmm. So master's students, they engage in capstones. And it's really that capstone. It's that stone that it's almost like a keystone that holds the whole structure together. It's a culminating, tangible delivery. Mm-hmm. And so it could be some type of project. For the doctoral capstone projects, it's individual original research. Could be some type of program development and program evaluation. It could be some advocacy project. It could be some real research and so our students learn research skills so they understand qualitative and quantitative inquiry. And so crunching numbers on the computer, SPSS is one of those programs. And then once they go through that process of engaging in the research or program development, they present it. And so there's this dissemination at the end, and that is kind of the culmination of everything. So they do a poster presentation and they submit their manuscript.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
My first project was doing the master program at Adelphi University. Yeah. It's fun, so it's rewarded that you feel great about yourself, that you have accomplished something major.
Yes.
But it can be nerve-wracking too.
It can. It can, definitely. Yeah. So that's how I stay on top of my knowledge, is I'm right there with the students learning about, and I've learned so much from my students too, because they'll come up with something that really tickled them or interested them and they want to learn more about it. They're educating me too, because I can't possibly stay up to date on every single aspect of what occupational therapy does and is. But they help me do that. They really do. There's also professional organizations. I can't reinforce enough how important it is to be a member of your national organization. I know in social work there's a national organization. There are state level associations. We have in the metropolitan area, we have the Metropolitan Education Council for Occupational Therapy, where fieldwork coordinators and capstone coordinators, we meet on a regular basis to review best practices and new knowledge that's been developed. So reading journals, having discussions. We have a journal club. I'm also a member of the New York State Occupational Therapy Association, the Connecticut Occupational Therapy Association, where I'm on the board. So we have communities of practice where there's one for mental health. We just had a mental health where we talked about CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, on Thursday. And we have a home care community of practice, which now also includes perspective on aging. So there's a huge audience there. There's school-based community of practice where like-minded people just get together and have a chat. There's a sense of community, and there's also a learning objective, and counts towards education units too, which you need for licensure. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so it seems that you are on top of your game.
Yeah. Plus, I happen to love books, textbooks, and I think, I don't know if Sheila mentioned this, but she has complained, but then she likes that the library is there. About 5 years ago, at the start of when COVID started, it was harder to get to a library and access to texts. So I started to troll eBay and different sites, thrift books, and on Amazon to find textbooks for cheaper. And so
build your own library.
We have at home now, we have a library that has over 700, we have over 700 occupational therapy and research texts. And
wow.
Yeah. So that's a real passion, and that helps me learn too. And there's never a time that I'm not looking. Right now I'm learning about transformative learning.
Okay.
Where it's understood that you have past experiences and how and your understanding of those experiences help shape how you're going to approach new learning.
It's how your past gonna shape your future.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And I know that because a book came in 2 days ago on that I had ordered, and sometimes it takes a month for the book to come, and that's okay because I got it really cheap. So I'm willing to wait, but then it adds to the library, and so.
Okay. Oh, that's amazing. Over 700 books.
Over 700 books.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I'll come check that out.
You can come and look. You can use the library anytime.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Definitely, I'll do so.
People now know. So at the different universities, if someone's giving away a text or they don't have a use for me, tell Gus, because he'll take it. So I have in my car right now, I have 3 boxes of textbooks. And some of them are really good textbooks that I'll go through. And most of them I'll then send on. So I've sent books to Haiti. There's a program in Puerto Rico that I'm going to be sending textbooks to. So I'll clean them and then I'll pass them on.
I attended your college for undergrad. I don't recall exactly, during what time of the year on the social work floor. They always have a pile of books.
Yeah.
They will just put in the hallway. And so students will come and just select, so whatever that. And those books, they were heavy. So, and I didn't have a car at that time.
Yeah.
But I will just, take some of them and hide them places because they were
behind
there for
another
free,
book, yeah.
So sometimes I'll go to the library and I had my special spot where I will hide those books, and the next time I come, so I'll just take 1 or 2, because when you don't have a car and those books are heavy and you already have your own books coming to school, so there is not that many of them you can carry. So no, it's very important. Sometimes people say, oh, those books. Some people believe books can be old. Me, I don't think books can be old.
No, and that's funny because what I've gotten into now a little bit too is tracking the changes between, and this might sound really odd, but tracking the changes between different editions. So, so the books are periodically updated, and I still find value in
the
a first edition because that's, especially if I'm looking to, if you're looking at seminal articles that introduced a really important idea. Those articles from a journal, they might be 20 or 30 years old, and that person might have also written a chapter in a text, and that textbook might be 20-year-old. I think my oldest text is 60 years old. It's such a treasure. But they might be still, for the time it was relevant, and it was the only research we had, in that particular area. And so that becomes really important. And I think that they'll retain their value and they'll be treasured for generations to come, because
one thing that I used to do, because I didn't have that much. Textbooks are really expensive.
Yeah.
If the school asks, for us to buy the 3rd version or edition or the 5th edition, I'll buy the 3rd one instead of the 5th one or the 4th one, because it will cost me less.
Yes.
So
right, exactly.
And during the semester, whomever had the new edition or the one that was required by the school, when we got to that chapter, I'll just, ask to borrow the book or go to the library, write whatever that my book doesn't have.
Yeah.
Because financially I was really tight, so I had to find a way to have my books, but to make things work for me. Because, sometimes it's not really that much of a difference.
Yeah, they might be adding a new chapter, and so and that's the way that I think sometimes too. And so if the new text costs $90 or $100, and I can get the old text, which might be 5 years old, for maybe $30, on eBay, I might get that edition, and then like you said, I'll wait, and a lot of the publishers, they'll have like summer sales. Like right now, one of the big publishing houses has a 25% off sale if you buy two books or more. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'll wait for that. I have my list. I'll put it together and I'll send it out. And then 5 books come at one time, and then I'm really in trouble with But yeah, and so then I'll have those up to date editions of the book.
Of the books.
And then I can either give the old one away or keep it as an archive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what opportunities are there for professional development and continuing education in this field?
Because occupational therapists are present as a profession in so many different areas. We work in pediatrics, we work with neonates. There's been research done on fetal interactions. So before a child is born, geriatrics, mental health, the condition, you name it, really. So in all of those different areas, there are specialties that emerge. And one of the ones that really comes up is in hand therapy. Just the hand is so complex that you actually have to study and really specialize to be able to treat just the hand. And so there's we call them certified hands therapists, CHTs for short. And so that specialization is open to physical therapists and occupational therapists. So that's one way that you can gain skill, is by specialty certifications. There's pediatric different interventions like sensory processing. There's specialty areas, and they might be promoted by national organizations that focus just on that particular aspect, or it could be our national organization, the American Occupational Therapy Association. They have specialty exams that you can take to really become specialized in a particular area. And there's one for home modification, for example. One of the things that we did that during COVID again was we became certified aging in place practitioners. And so we know about, Sheila and I know about building codes. We know about universal design. We can make recommendations on how to make a home accessible, different types of equipment that you can bring in, like having a mirror that tilts so someone in a wheelchair can still groom themselves, having sinks that can raise and lower down, different grab bars in particular areas, ramps or
like the stairs.
Stair glides. Yeah, exactly. So we know about that. So that's something that we studied for. We took a week-long course, and it was all online, right? You can do it in person too, but and then you sit for an exam. We have our CHES certification, so we are community health educators. So we have that certification. It was a 3-hour, 300-question multiple choice exam. And there's also micro-credentialing too. So if you, which is part of, we need a certain amount of continuing education hours to maintain our licensure. So national organizations, our state organization, you get credit hours for that. And so you can develop an area of specialty. I'm a certified dementia practitioner. So I went through that training and got that certification. So really it really depends on each individual clinician, and you have to have a desire to do that. And a mentor long ago, she told me, she's one of our dear friends from Ireland, who is also an occupational therapist. I told her, this was in 1998, I said, I was working for the company where she was my supervisor, and I said, I'm going out on my own. I'm going to work for the Board of Ed in New York and for some early intervention organizations, and I'm going to be a pediatric therapist. And she said, Gus, and that's wonderful, but always remember that you're an occupational therapist, and don't ever forget that. And I really didn't know how to take that at the time, but as I matured as an OT, I realized that the principles of occupational therapy, being able to understand occupation, what's relevant to the client, being able to understand the relevance of context, and being very understanding of adaptation, how a person can adapt to be able to engage successfully in whatever activity they're wanting to engage in. Those are most relevant. You can apply those concepts in every different setting. And so that's what makes us occupational therapists, not whether we work with pediatrics or with geriatrics, or with if we specialize and work with just trigger finger in a hand clinic. We're occupational therapists, and we're going to approach our clients in that particular way. And that's what really distinguishes us.
Bravo.
Yeah.
My next one now. So how do you adapt your practice to meet the needs of clients with diverse background or abilities?
Oh my gosh. So that's, that kind of, it really came about. I mean, I learned about, back then we called it cultural competence. Now the term that I'm hearing more often is cultural humility, because you couldn't be competent in every single different culture, right? But you can demonstrate cultural humility by being open to differences and accepting of differences, and incorporate those differences into the plan of care. So that's really, really important to me. So I gain an understanding of that, and I can only do that when I'm gleaning information from the client and understanding what their take is on a particular intervention or what's important to them. That's super really relevant to me. So, and that once again translates into any different setting. The caregivers, they might share information that's relevant. If it's more difficult for me to get the information from the client themselves, here's a good example. And that's why I like running into family members too, because they'll tell me, my mother was a model when she was younger, and or I just happened just recently. I ran into the adult daughter of one of my clients, and she shared with me that her mom, she was a really important publisher for a really relevant magazine, and I thought, wow, that's just amazing. And so I learned how to incorporate that into intervention and into my dialogue, and so openness, understanding, appreciation. I think those are the really key terms, and using and just being aware of that all along. There's a real important concept that we have in occupational therapy. It's called therapeutic use of self, and it's a real model that is important to us. And so we use ourselves as a modality to elicit change in our clients. And so we can take on different modes to help the client go through the process of developing. Maybe they maybe have not given what we're engaging them in a lot of thought,
or the opportunities or the tools.
Yeah, right. So helping them go through the process of understanding their relevance is similar to the health belief model too, right? That how important is this to you? And so we can gauge where they are in the process, and then use ourselves in a therapeutic way to elicit change, recognize potential. And if there's not, then we recognize that too, right? If it's not relevant to the client, then we shouldn't be really addressing it.
Because everything is just for the well-being of your clients.
Absolutely.
No, I really like that.
Yeah.
My last question.
Yeah.
What kind of support and resources are available for clients and families?
Yes, so it really depends on the setting. So I think I mentioned that I also work in home care. So I work for a wonderful agency in Fairfield County, Connecticut. And we have, so all the therapists talk, right? And we have the community of practice that I mentioned, and that some of the clinicians are part of. And so we get like these tips, and now we call them hacks. I think that's the Gen Z term, hacks, for how to requisition or acquire resources. There is an organization that it was modeled on a lending library that was in Israel, and this person brought back that concept and started a lending library in Stamford, Connecticut. It's called Wheel It Forward, and they expanded now to also Bridgeport. And Wheel It Forward is a unique type of library where you don't go to get books. I know we were talking about books before, but you get medical equipment. So it could be walkers, wheelchairs, beds, mattresses.
Oh, really?
It could be seat cushions, anything that can be used again. And so gently used equipment, they go through this process. They have technicians there that go through and make sure that the items are usable, and they clean them, they power wash them, sterilize them, and then they're available for loan. So you can go to their website and find equipment, and then you can then let the clients know, our patients know, their family members. I've even gone sometimes and picked up, if I know that they can't get there and they really need a walker, I'm going to go and get it for them. So that's a huge resource, and so we and it depends on the organization too. Now there's, I think what I'm seeing in organizations and agencies now is they're really trying to tap into a variety of different income streams and resource streams. So there's grants, there's partnerships with communities, with community organizations, and there's a reciprocity. So here's a good example. In a town in Connecticut, in Wilton, Connecticut, my agency, and I participate in this. In fact, next week we'll be doing another one. It's a memory cafe, and so in the memory cafe, the library, they have publicized, come in once a month, and it'll be a time of respite where you and your loved one living with dementia can come and just be people again, and just enjoy the moment, and forget just for a brief time that you're living with the effects of dementia, and that gives the caregivers because they're under a tremendous amount of stress very often. That's what my dissertation was about,
it's
too.
Like a respite time for the kid.
Yeah, but respite in the sense that you're participating, you're engaged with the person, not that, okay, well, here the caregiver goes over here and drinks a cup of coffee while there's
the patient is being left alone.
Right.
No.
So you're working together. So we had a musician in the last time. The time before that, we had, it was a real fun activity where we were getting to know each other. So share your story. And so people were able to share different aspects of what's important to them or what was important.
As a caretaker, while you're providing for that person, but you also have that opportunity to socialize.
Right. You know. And so we have treats and we have beverages, and so right now water is really important too, and it's been really well received. And I was on a call on Wednesday where some other agencies, they shared that they're also doing memory cafes in different parts of the state. And so it's a really good model.
And being in an environment like that where you can socialize, have some treats and things like that, that can really alleviate stress and anxiety.
Yep.
You know, and for both patients and caretaker.
Yep.
So that's very important.
Yep. So making that connection with the resources is important. Also, just knowing your environment, knowing the people that you're working with, and this is so important too. Understanding the skill set and the specialties of your colleagues and staff. That's so important. It's almost like asset-based community development, where you understand the skill set and the assets that you have within the community that you have, and you leverage those, right? So, and it only comes about, you gain understanding just from discussion, of being able to have that opportunity to sit down with your colleagues and not for a minute, not talk about patients, but talk about what your interests are, what's important to you. Maybe it's that you want to learn more about some important Parkinson's intervention, but you've not had the time, and now suddenly you know that another colleague is interested in that too. I found out that because Sheila's very much into driving simulation. She has that huge, beautiful driving simulator at Sacred Heart. Well, there is a clinician at my agency that loves driving simulation. And so I'm connecting the two. And so that's huge too. You know, just the sharing of resources and making aware that comes about just with collaboration and communication. And this podcast too, it's part of that too, right? It's part of that sharing.
Sharing knowledge, educate people.
It's a big network.
Believe it or not. So what you just explained to everybody, myself including, so it's something that many of us didn't know prior.
Yeah.
Maybe for some people, OT was not a real profession. Like many years ago, where social work was not considered as a profession.
Right. Yeah.
So it really took a long time for the profession to become a profession and for people to embrace it. Now, so it's like, it's still growing, but there is not a place, you cannot find a social worker. The hospital, the school, the court, the prison, jail, so you name it, so we did.
Yeah.
So, and that's the beauty of the profession. And I love, though I do have two different professions, but I love to carry the social worker title, because it's like you invest, you did, so, and I think that's really basically our reward, as being OT, social worker, or what have you. So it's like when you see whatever that you did, kind of like increase the quality of health or the well-being of your clients.
Absolutely.
That's my reward. Personally, I know that's my reward.
Yep.
Because if it was for money, those fields don't really have money.
No, and I tell my students that too. I said, you're going to be comfortable. right? And so you chose a good profession, but I know what you really, because we'll do introductions. Why did you become an OT? That's like a classic question, right? And so I hear a lot, I want to help people.
Yeah.
Very seldom do I hear someone, and it hasn't been for a while, because I think they're getting it now, and we're doing a good job of educating the students. But I used to hear sometimes, oh, I'm in it for the money. You have to get into OT because you have a passion, and you have to understand the philosophy and that unique angle that we have, because it's not just a profession. Being an occupational therapist is a lifestyle. You really live and breathe occupation and adaptation. And that becomes evident in our relationships, in the way that we raise our children, in the way that we interact with other people.
With other people, yes, indeed.
And it's so important.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So before we close off, so what's your last thought?
My last thought is I'm so appreciative to be able to spotlight occupational therapy. So thank you very much for this. And if someone watching the podcast is interested in occupational therapy, if you're a prospective student, reach out to the American Occupational Therapy Association, reach out to one of the local schools. If you go to ACOTE, just Google them and look them up. It's our accreditation organization. They can show you where all of the different accredited schools are across the country and even outside the country. And you can then choose one of the schools and go for an interview, learn more about occupational therapy, and become one of us.
Okay, so I believe we had a great quote too. I don't know if you...
Yes.
So I would love to, to leave everybody with that quote, because it really stands out for everything that you just mentioned.
Yeah. So there were three options, and I'm going to just go through by the process of elimination, if we have the time.
Okay. So let's do that.
So here's the first one, which we didn't choose. Occupational therapy is not just about fixing a problem; it's about empowering individuals to live the life they want. And so I think that's just a very narrow definition, and empowerment certainly, but we don't just work with the individual that has the problem, which I have an issue with the term problem too, because I wouldn't call it a problem. I would call it maybe a difficult situation or
a challenge.
But in so many of the conditions that I've worked with, the family is a huge part of it too. And so it's not just the individuals that are living with the condition, but it's those that are affected too. So and it doesn't take into account a lot of the context.
You kind of provide holistic kind of type of services to your patients. Yeah.
And so, and like there's no context here. So it's to live the life that they want. So, all right, so we scratched that one. The other one was occupation is a fundamental aspect of human existence, and occupational therapy is about enabling individuals to engage in occupations that promote health, well-being, and life satisfaction.
That's my favorite.
So I like it, except that there's nowhere where we really explain what occupation is. Occupation is it's a construct unto itself, and so it has to be understood. And it took us 100 years, and we're still evolving what occupation is. In the beginning, and I think I said the origins of occupational therapy. Occupation became it was engaging someone in something that was busy work that would keep them busy essentially. And hey, this worked. There were some good observations. Occupation then became less favorable. It became it wasn't talked about as we were adopting the medical model, because we wanted to be able to bill for services. So really, up until the late 70s, early 80s, we were kind of losing touch with occupational therapy, and we were occupational therapists in name only. in the 80s, we then started to relook what occupation is. And we developed a more deeper understanding
of it,
of what occupation is and what adaptation is. And so some of our really best models and theories evolved out of that, like the model of human occupation. And it talks about an open system, that there's input and output, and that whole component of that processing of the information to then have that drive and recognizing your skill set and what you still need to do and how you recognize yourself in your role as a person performing the occupation. That all evolved out of that new understanding. And so now over the past 25, 30 years, we've really been refining that. And so that's not captured here. And so it deserves really a lecture all to its own. It's what I love the most, and if you think about it, so this was my quote of choice. The goal of occupational therapy is to help individuals participate in the activities that give their life meaning and purpose. That considers the person's context. It puts the client first. It's very clear in that statement. That's most important to us. So I don't go in and impose, okay, well, you're at this level, this is what you need to be doing now.
As we should not.
Right. So it takes, okay, what do you, given they understand the steps, where do you want to be? And where do you, how do you progress the best? What works best for you?
Like they're saying in social work, we meet clients where they at.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and so that's why I like this one. The goal of occupational therapy is to help individuals participate in the activities that give their life meaning and purpose. So
that was the second one or the third one?
That's the second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dr. Schlegel?
Schlegel, yeah.
I don't have enough words to thank you. To commute from another state to come to New York to offer this knowledge to myself and my viewers. So it's priceless, and I thank you so much. I remember the last time your wife, Sheila Schlegel, was here, and after we recorded our session, and she stated, "Oh, my husband have to be on the show too." And Sheila basically booked you.
Yeah,
and I was so happy that Dr. Sheila Schlegel did so.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
It was amazing to have you today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That's one of the pleasures of being married to another occupational therapist. We have the most wonderful conversations, and we think alike. So
that's wonderful.
And we include the other, so we're partners in crime.
Oh.
So thank you.
So today may be your first time, but it should not be your last.
Oh, I'd love to come back.
Okay, so of that said, it was with you, Dr. Beatrice and Dr. Schlegel, with your work.